Good afternoon, everyone. BJ Stevens here with Goosebump Moments. Today I want to talk about effective communication, and this applies to everyday life. It also applies to those who may be managers or supervisors. It will apply to those who are volunteers in groups like PTA, or those of you who may be taking up a fundraising role and have to excite and encourage people to give money. It also will apply to those who are looking to pursue a public speaking career. This covers all aspects of your life. It covers how you communicate with your spouse, your children, your coworkers, your friends, your neighbors, everybody in your life. Effective communication is something that we don't work on as a rule. I recently have been asked to teach on effective communication and public speaking basics. Now, let me give you a little background about what makes me qualified to do that. I have been teaching for 35 plus years in various niches that I've worked in. I've also been involved in direct sales and network marketing for over 50 years. I've had some sizable teams, and as a leader, it was my job to teach and coach and mentor, point, guide, and direct everybody to where they need to be, to train them effectively. I'm also a member of Toastmasters. And for the last 3 years, I've gained a lot of experience and wisdom through that organization. So I come with quite a bit of background in this area. I do not consider myself a master. You'll never hear those words out of my mouth. But I am knowledgeable, and I have taught on these subjects. So I do feel somewhat qualified to do this. There are 7 deadly sins when you start communicating to others, with others. And let me briefly go over them, and then I will go back and explain them. The first is gossip. How bad is gossip? Judging. We're so judgmental these days. Negativity. One of the worst deadly sins that we can allow ourselves. Complaining. Oh my gosh. Excuses. How many times have you heard people give excuses that just aren't real or have no meaning? Exaggeration. Ooh, there's a big one. Those are the 7 sins. Now, let's go back and briefly define each one. Unless you know what you are saying that can be proven and documented, don't involve gossip in your conversation. There's no room for that. It diminishes your integrity. We're going to talk about integrity in a minute. Do not become judgmental. It's not your job to question what others may or may not do or may not say. You're not walking in their shoes. So you cannot make a judgment call on why or why not they do things. Negativity. Well, that seems to flourish in today's culture, in today's society. People are so negative and they're so quick with sarcasm. We all understand how harmful that can be to our success and our failures in life, not just business, but in overall life. But if we allow that to become a pervasive part of who we are and how we present ourselves, how do you think other people are going to perceive us? They're going to say, I don't want to be around that person. That person's too negative. Erase negativity in all aspects of your life. No, it's not easy. But negativity is a habit, just like being positive is a habit. And you can't overcome negativity. Complaining. Now, I know my friends and fellow business associates, this is something we hear all the time. This is another practice that gets us nowhere in life. It's also a form of negativity. So while you're practicing eliminating sarcasm and negativity from your life, practice eliminating the complaints. The less you complain about, the happier you're going to be because you have nothing to complain about. Excuses. We all have excuses for one reason or another. We always find fault with others for giving you excuses for why they aren't doing something. Your children, for an example. You ask them to clean their room or make their bed or do a chore around the house. And they say, well, Mom, I didn't get it done. Or Dad, I just forgot. It's another habit. You need to own up. And we're going to talk about integrity here, as I said, down the road. So stop the excuses. Man up. If you didn't get it done, then say you didn't get it done. Don't find fault. It kind of goes back to when you were a child. And let's say you were playing around with a dog in the house and you accidentally knocked over something and broke it. And now Mom or Dad is saying, how did this happen? How did this happen? And you say, well, the dog did it. The dog ate my homework. The dog broke the lamp. You're blaming somebody else for something that you did. Stop making excuses. Exaggeration. I could spend a whole day on this subject alone. We exaggerate for several reasons, but one of the biggest reasons is because of perception. We want other people to perceive us as successful. We don't want other people to think that we're just half-assing it, so to speak. Okay? We want other people to see us more successful than maybe we really are. We're pouring a veneer over ourselves. Okay? Listen, everybody, there's no shame. When you're, and I'm going to talk to marketers here, there's no shame in telling somebody you're having a conversation with, hey, I'm new. I'm just starting out. I'm learning. You know, I'm trying to get somewhere and do something with my life. I'm still in the growth process. I'm still in the learning mode. I want to be better. So I would like for you to understand that I've got a long way to go. But I'd like for you to come and join me. Something to that effect. When you are honest with people, they perceive that honesty. It's that know, like, and trust that we all talk about, but we seldom provide to our people, to the people we're speaking with. Okay? People will respond so much faster than over-exaggerating. You want to know something? Whether you're making a public presentation or in a training or whatever, it only takes an audience 5 minutes or less to know and get the feel whether you're being real and truthful or not. They can tell. Do not underestimate an audience. Now, when I say audience, I'm talking about one person or 100,000 people. You're engaging people. Don't underestimate their ability, their perception, their sixth sense, if you will. They can tell if you're being real and authentic or you're putting on airs. That's a big mistake, guys. And it's one that a lot of us, even though we know better, it's one that we always move to. So there are the 7 deadly sins of communication. Excuse me a minute here. But there are 4 cornerstones that we all can hang our hat on. And if you make these 4 things real and always stick by them, they're tried and true, then I can promise you a level of success you've never had. The first one, well, actually it creates an acronym. And that acronym is the word HAIL. HAIL. The first one, H, stands for, what would you think? Honesty. You've got to be clear and straightforward in your communication with others. As I said, your audience knows. The second one, the A, is authenticity. That goes back to your honesty. You always want to communicate authentically in your own voice and with realism. And it goes along with the I, the next one down, integrity. All of these go together. Integrity, this is the most powerful tool in your communication arsenal. And you've heard this saying before, but it is so true. And again, your audience feels this from you. Say what you mean and mean what you say. It's that simple. The L stands for love. Again, your audience is extremely perceptive. So you have to love what you do. You have to put meaning behind your presentation. Because if you don't feel it, you don't love it, your audience isn't going to either. It's being real. It's being authentic. It's being you. Not pretending, not putting on airs, not exaggerating your importance or your level of success. It's common sense. It just makes sense. But it's one of the most difficult lessons people learn in communicating. It's why we have a whole lot of marital problems, problems with our kids, problems with work, in government, in our whole culture and society. We are not effectively communicating. Now, one of the things that I wished I could get across to other people is how powerful your voice is. It's an extremely powerful tool in your toolbox of communication techniques. But very few people understand how to effectively use it. Okay, there's 8 different components to your voice. Did you realize that? It's 8 different components. Let's go over them. All right. The first one is your register. Here's a fascinating little tidbit. Did you know that men and women equally, alike, will always respond quicker, faster, and with more attention to men who have those wonderfully deep baritone voices and to women who have alto voices? I want you to stop and think about that. Let me give you an example. James Earl Jones, awesome actor, fabulous actor, Darth Vader, for those of you who may not know. It's that deep, rich, resonating tone, that register in his voice, that it just draws people into them. Morgan Freeman, there's another one. He's now spending a great deal of his time in being hired as the background voices for a lot of documentaries. He's now, I just saw this yesterday, he's now one of the GPS voices. They've hired him now to use his voice because it is of that baritone upper baritone, but a baritone voice that people love listening to. He has, because of his acting ability and his coaching and his vocal coaching, he has achieved mastery of the voice. It plays such a crucial role in how people respond to you. And if we're talking about business, it will play a big role in your success or your failure. Now, let me give you the opposite register disconnects. Roseanne Barr, when she was really big in her career, people complained because she had a high, whiny voice. Gilbert Gottfried, I cannot tell you how many people just were turned off of him because of his nasally voice. People don't like it. It does not register with the ears. It's not pleasing. So if you really want to be effective in your communication, it is more than possible to learn how to control your voice. You have a nasal voice, you have a throat voice, you have a chest voice, and you have a diaphragm voice. And it is the diaphragm voice that really appeals to people. I would strongly urge you, if you are truly looking to become a professional, invest a little bit of time and effort and money in getting a vocal coach. They'll do wonders for you. Now, the next one is timbre. Timbre. This is the quality of the voice, the tone of the voice. And it goes along with your register. Instead of having that high, squeaky pitched voice, you really want to work on that lower register. It's the smoothness, the richness of your tone. Now, the third one is called something probably not many people know about. It's called prosody, P-R-O-S-I-D-Y. That's the fluctuation of the voice. Some will refer to this as kind of your sing-song voice, and it is needed. And there's a way that you can learn to use that in an effective manner to get your audience to keep paying attention. Nobody likes monotone voices. It's boring. There's no fun. There's no excitement. There's no thrill. There's no enthusiasm. And believe it or not, hundreds and hundreds of people talk like that. They don't realize it. So learn to listen to yourself. Record yourself. Read a paragraph out of a book and listen. Use these two tools right here to listen to how it is that you are speaking. It's a very effective tool in communication. People respond to a lyrical nature. The next one goes along with that. It's called repetitive prosody. Now, this is where people speak. They don't even realize that they're doing it, but they speak in questions. Every sentence is a question. Did you know that you can always manage to... Let me back up. Let me see if I can give you a good example. How about let me give you the title of my book, okay? Let me read it to you this way. It always seems possible until it's done. How many times have I told you to make your bed? Are you sure that this is exactly how you want it done? It's not just that you're asking a question, but you're always ending the sentence posing as a question. Now let me go back, okay? Because this actually has to do with pitch as well. How many times have I always told you how it should be done? Versus, how many times have I always told you how it should be done? What's the difference? You're accusing, you're affirming. That's the difference in that. It's your pitch. Pitch is extremely important in how you communicate. There's another little habit, another little foible that a lot of us do and don't even realize we're doing it. When you are speaking, it is habit that at the end of a sentence we drop up. Instead of saying, this is where people speak each sentence like a question. They're placing the wrong emphasis on word structure. It's a habit and it can easily be corrected with practice. Instead of, this is where people speak each sentence like a question. They are placing the wrong emphasis on word structure. It's a habit and can be easily corrected. Don't drop your volume, your pitch, or your enunciation at the end of a sentence. Always end as you began your sentence. Don't soften the end of a statement or sentence or a point. Believe it or not, I want you to start listening, because a lot of people do that and they don't even realize they're doing it. It's important, it's critical that you end with volume. Don't end in softness. Okay, pace. Pace is another habit you need to learn. There's a lot of people who speak so fast they don't even remember, and they get lost in their communication, and it's hard for people to understand what it is they're saying. Slow down. Slow down. Nerves play an important role in the pace of your communication. A lot of people are very nervous, so they think they have to keep talking and talking and talking to get their people's attention. No, learn to pace your words. Learn to pace your sentence structure. Learn to pace your vocabulary, your volume, your pitch. It's important. I have one particular coaching client right now that we're having a little issue with. They're trying to develop that pace. They've spent a lifetime talking very fast. We're trying to slow it down. Here's some interesting tips on pace. And maybe this will explain and give you an example of how important pace is in your effective communication. The average person speaks at the rate of 125 to 175 words per minute. That's a normal pace. However, the brain will listen to 450 words a minute. So the brain will only comprehend about 25% of what you just said, because you're talking too fast. If you're speaking at a rate of 180 words a minute or more, your audience's brain can't retain and comprehend your content. It can't. You're talking too fast. So if the brain is only taking in 25% of what it is that you're saying, you need to slow down your pace. You need to slow down and allow your audience's brain to take in what you are communicating. Now, one of the best tricks that you can do, that you can use to slow you down, are pauses. Pauses in your presentation are crucial. Crucial. That is so effective when used right. And you got to learn how to use the pause correctly. The use of pauses can stir emotion. It can generate thought. It can raise questions from your audience. It can increase your audience's awareness. Plus, based on what I just said about the retainment and what your audience hears, it gives your audience's brain an opportunity to process what you just said. Now, if you're giving a motivational talk, or you're giving an empowerment talk, or you're giving a training, if you continually talk all the time and there's no breaks, there's no pauses, there's no momentary silence in your presentation, your audience doesn't have the time to jot down notes. When you speak slower and you pace yourself at that normal pace, normal word per minute, your audience now has time to actually write down what it is that they want to retain from you. Slow your conversation down. Pauses are effective. Now, we talked about pitch, so I'm not going to even go over that, but volume. Your voice volume is extremely important. It's another powerful, effective tool in effective communication. One of the best masters of volume that I can think of off the top of my head is Les Brown. It doesn't matter whether he's in a room of 40 or whether he's in a stadium of 80,000. And yeah, the microphone helps, but that's a tool. It's the volume of his voice that will get that audience aroused. It's the volume of his voice that creates emotion and stirs feelings in people. And when you are speaking to a large crowd, you don't want to speak in a normal voice. You want to learn to throw your voice out to that far person in the back of the room. It's important that you do that. Just because you raise your voice doesn't mean that it's aggressive in nature. It takes practice. Practice. Everything about effective communication, giving public speaking, is nothing short of practice. Practice, practice, practice. Okay? One of the best examples I can give you, other than Les Brown, is a minister. When a minister's standing at the pulpit and he's really getting into the sermon, don't you realize, haven't you heard him get loud when he's trying to make a point and he's saying, read chapter 27 of Matthew. It will take you to where you need to be. Deliver unto God. The volume. I've seen it happen in my own church. But when a minister raises his voice and becomes exaggerated in his tone and his quality and his message, those who are kind of napping and dozing off and sleeping, suddenly sit up. That's how powerful the volume of your voice can be. It's not just slapping you up the head silently and saying, wake up. There's purpose behind it. There's meaning behind it. Those are all the things, basic things, that it takes for effective communication. The 4 cornerstones, and the eight parts of voice quality. Now, there's a whole lot more that goes in to effective communication. Those are going to be done at a later time. Now, I'm going to tell you that if you liked this training and you want to hear more of it, you can do one of two things. You can get a hold of me. Private message me below. Reach out to me on Facebook at BJ Stevens or on my fan page at Goosebump Moments. Or you can go to my email at goosebumpmoments@gmail.com, or you can go to my webpage, which is findinggoosebump.moments.com. As a trainer, I'm going to be presenting a beginning class, an intermediate class, and an advanced class through a program that I am in. So if you would like to come and hear me live, if you would like to come and learn, I would love to have you join us. You just need to get a hold of me, and let's see if we can get you at a live training. We're going to be doing them all over the country. The next one is scheduled next month. I believe it's the 7th, 8th, and 9th. It's not 100% confirmed yet, but I believe that's the tentative date in Minneapolis. So any of you who are listening and live in the Minneapolis area or live within a driving range of Minneapolis, I would love for you to get a hold of me. And let's see if we can get you there at that live event. It will be awesome. I'll be doing some of this and some other things as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this training. I hope that I've given you some information and shed some light on how important effective communication can be and how important public speaking is in the success or failure of what it is that your dream is, that you're pursuing. Reach out to me. I'm here for you. I want to help you. Thank you, everybody. Until later. Bye.